Hello, and welcome to the Yarn Trekking Podcast. My name is Anne Mockros. In these podcasts, I'm going to take you with me to different knitting festivals, yarn events, and fibre events that are of interest to knitters. The idea came to me when I was watching a lot of podcasts about the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It was just wonderful to be able to see what went on there as I couldn't get there myself. And it's a really exciting time in knitting right now with so many local designers and dyers flourishing in this environment. And it's wonderful that we can really support our local artists and also share them with social media around the globe. I live in Ottawa, Canada, and there are a lot of really interesting things going on around here. In Ottawa, and let's say from Montreal to Toronto is a good day's journey or a day trip for me, and easy to get to any festival or shop that's between those two cities. In this episode, we're going to go to Fenlon Falls, Ontario. That's in the Kawartha Lakes, which is cottage country in southern central Ontario, and it's the area where the Curve Lake First Nations people live. It's also the area of the Trench Severn Waterway, which is it's a waterway system it's over 350 kilometers long, and there are 45 different locks on that system. It's about a 3.5 hour drive from Ottawa, so we'll go there in the morning, and we're going to go to the Between Two Lakes local yarn shop and to the Kawartha Yarn and Fibre Festival. As well, we're going to start the Cottage Country Yarn Crawl for 2018. That's kicking off at the festival. The Kawartha Yarn and Fibre Festival has this program. It was their first year putting this on, and it was very successful. There were over 1,000 people who attended. They had some classes, and the classes looked really good. Double knitting, brioche, creating rag rugs, I-cord, first time top-down sweaters, knitting with hand-painted yarns, and steeking. So a great lineup for courses. There were lots of vendors, and you can see a list of all the vendors and their websites on the Yarn Festival's website. But there's a quick look at the some of the vendors, so you can see how many there are. And the vendors were superb. I really enjoyed seeing them. The other thing that I mentioned was the Cottage Country Yarn Crawl, which is lots of fun. So this is the passport that you start with. They have a little map, and then there are 8 different yarn shops in Cottage Country. You have to go to each one and get the passport stamped. You can get it stamped at the Fibre Festival as well to be entered into an extra draw. The cowl is a mystery knit along, so each time you go to a particular yarn shop, you get a portion of the pattern. So you don't actually get the whole pattern until you get to all shops. And of course you have to pick out the yarn before you know the full pattern, and don't have a picture of what it's going to be. So it's a real game. It is a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying that. The Between the Two Lakes yarn shop is the first stop on the crawl. So it's great to get to the festival and start the crawl and see the Between the Two Lakes yarn shop. Now, as I said, it's a 3.5 hour drive. It's fair ways. It's a nice drive. The weather's good, but it is long. So before I left, I did a little bit of preparation, and I downloaded Stephanie Pearl McPhee's At Knit's End, Meditations for Women Who Knit Too Much. It was a great asset to the trip. I really enjoyed bringing her along. That's the Yarn Harlot, if you don't recognize her name. And the wonderful thing about listening to all her meditations was she reassured me that no matter how big my stash was, there was still room to buy more yarn at the festival and the shop. So, enough of that. Let's go to Fenlon Falls. The first place I visited when I got to Fenlon Falls was Between Two Lakes Yarn and Crafts. It was my first stop on the Cottage Country Yarn Crawl. Sandy Stewart has a bright and cheery store right across the street from the locks and with a beautiful view of the water. She opened her shop just a few months ago. Sandy carries yarn, needles and notions, project bags, gifts for knitters, and other craft supplies, including dyes, paints, and beads. Sandy and June offer knitting help, Knitting 911, from 10 to noon on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Knit nights are Thursdays from 7 to 9. They offered to teach me how to knit socks if I could make it back to a Knitting 911 session. I bought a sock ruler in anticipation of knitting my first pair of socks. Here are Sandy and June.
I'm Sandy Stewart, and this is my shop.
And I'm June. I work in this shop Between Two Lakes.
And I think you recently opened, aren't you?
April 7th we opened, so it's new. Everything's all new.
Wonderful. And you're one of the stops on the Cottage Country Yarn Crawl.
So we're the first one, so you have to come to us to get the cast on and how many stitches to use. So we're all ready for you. We got lots of patterns.
And you have lots of yarn. Do you want to talk about some of the yarn that's in your shop and what you're stocking?
We have a bit for every price range because we respect every knitter's choice. We also carry some fine yarns, and lots of sock yarns. We like to make up kits, so if you don't know what to knit, you can just grab a kit and go home and you're ready. And we carry gifts for knitters and some crafts.
What got you into knitting? Have you been knitting a long time?
I've been knitting for a long time, since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't knit for a while, and then I got back into it a few years ago. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. That's my passion right now, knitting.
And you said you have something on Tuesdays.
We have our knitting help Tuesdays and Saturdays. It's for 2 hours. It's only $5. And we have June and I both are here, so we have extra staff. So we'll go in the back and whatever you want to learn. If you want to learn cables, how to make socks, just whatever. We find it works better that way than having set classes all the time, as sometimes people can't make every day. And we'll teach you. We'll get you sock knitting.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
With my passport stamped, I crossed the bridge to find my cousin at the Kawartha Yarn and Fibre Festival. After a 3.5-hour drive and a visit to Between Two Lakes Yarn and Crafts, you know the first place I went to at the festival. The organizers made sure signs clearly displayed the facilities and with humor, so no one would miss them. Okay, this is the empty bag. Now we're going to go into the Yarn Festival and fill it. There was an excellent selection of classes offered, and I could have spent the day just taking them, but Catherine and I hadn't seen each other in a long time, and we decided we really just wanted to hang out together and look at all the booths. I had my Yarn Crawl passport stamped to be entered in a special draw, and I received a program that included a list of all the vendors. You can go to the festival website, kyaff.ca, and there you'll see a list of all the vendors that attended and a link to their websites as well. There were many very generous door prizes too. The vendors were superb. We stopped and looked at each booth. I have a few videos of some vendors and a few photos, but this is by no means a record of all vendors, just a taste of some of what we saw. And more fun, 3 dog knits call their mini skeins puppy skeins. Knitters and dogs seem to go together, a good thing. And now a blooper alert. In the next video, I say Feisty Fibre is from Georgian Bay, but as you will see, it clearly says on the yarn label, they're from Toronto. So these are from Georgian Bay, I think. Look at these colors. That's Feisty Fibres, worsted. Lucky Penny. I love this one too.
What's it called? Gluten-free. Here, this one's poolside punch. Oh, excellent. That looks like something I want to drink beside the pool. Kind of hot and thirsty. I wouldn't mind a drink right now.
Hi, I'm Ray. I own Sticks and Stones Yarn Boutique. We're out of North Bay, Ontario. We've been in business now for 9 years. We're celebrating 9 years this June, so since 2009. And we now specialize in a lot of hand-dyed, high-quality yarns from primarily Canadian sources. So we deal a lot with small batch indie dyers. We do have a few larger Canadian companies that we represent as well. So we try to keep it local and Canadian as much as possible. And again, mainly natural fibers. So you'll find a lot of things like cottons and linens and merino and alpaca, bamboo, things like that. Just a little bit nicer to work with and whatnot. So we do a lot of shows. We're doing 9 or 10 shows a year right now. So we travel around the province mostly and bring what we do to other areas. So yeah, so I can give you a little overview of the yarns that we carry. We have Pretty Strings, which is here. They're from the Ottawa region. We have Red Sock, Blue Sock yarn. They're an Ontario hand dyer. We've got Knitting Wolf Luxury Yarns. He's from Ontario as well. Our main attraction is the Feisty Fibres, which is all here. And she just does a wide array of colors, all different bases. So we've got fingering weight here, worsted weight, and super bulky weight down at the bottom. And she's from Toronto, Ontario, so we do a lot of shows with her as well. We've got over on the other side, there's
Get me in there.
Georgian Bay Fibre Company, which is along the top section here. And she's from Parry Sound region. And then along the bottom and over here, we've got Americo Yarns, which is based out of Toronto. So quite a few different things that we carry. A lot of our accessories are made locally as well. We have a carver who's from Ontario. He does all of our shawl pins. And we have Howling Hill Studio, which is just south of us in North Bay in Burkes Falls. And she does our stitch markers. We represent Sugar Bush yarns as well, and they're Canadian out of Ontario. So yeah, a lot of different Canadian companies to find. So
Thank you. And can you tell me about your fascinator?
yes, absolutely. My friend Carrie is a professional milliner. She's British trained, and she does the fascinators for us. So we just recently did a workshop with her on the fascinators just before the royal wedding. So we had people come in and make their own, which was really fun. So yeah, we wear them when we do the shows.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I saw yarns I didn't know about, and I met people who are local to me. Debbie from Sheep's Ahoy sells Shetland wool and has lovely kits, including kits to make this year's Shetland Wool Week hat. I think I'm going to need one of those. And she's located in Ottawa. I have easy access to Shetland wool. And it was the first time I saw Shirley Bryan yarns live and got to feel the 50% camel, 50% silk sock weight yarn, which is wonderful. Then lo and behold, I found a familiar face. Familiar from YouTube.
Go. This is Old Ark Yarns. Hi.
Hi.
So do you want to tell us about you and about
Me. So I'm Adrienne, the dyer of Old Oak Yarns, and we're at the Kawartha Yarn and Fibre Festival, which is amazing. It's our first year. It's been such an exciting time. So this is my booth. I only do about one show a year, so this is my one kick of the can. And
this is our chance to see you then, eh?
absolutely, the rest of the time you gotta find me on Etsy.
And here's a whole basket full of minis. It's pretty exciting.
Lots of sock yarn.
Great. Wonderful. That's good. And we can see you on your
On
podcast?
my podcast, Little Fibre Friends.
Great. So this is my cousin Catherine. Say hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Catherine and I finished the day by visiting the Scouts, who wound Catherine's yarn purchases into skeins. They accepted donations to help raise money for a trip to PEI they are planning. Then we checked out the map and added our own dots to show how far we had come to visit the festival. It was a great day.
And we've just finished hours of looking at everything at the Kawartha Yarn Festival.
Really happy with my purchases.
Do you want to show us what you got?
Sure. I got this bluish sort of ocean color for a shawl that I can wear at my office because my office has an ocean beach theme. And I got this gray Shetland Jameson yarn to make a scarf for next winter, because this is a little bit thicker, so it's a winter weight. And then I'm going to attempt my first pair of socks with this red, gray, and off-white yarn. So
That's fabulous. That colorway was called Sock Monkey, wasn't it?
yes, it was, and you can just picture those sock monkeys with the googly eyes when you look at it.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a great day for hanging out with my cousin and getting some great yarn.
Yeah. Now we have to go home and knit.
Yes.
So we have something to show next time we podcast, to show what we've done.
Yes,
With the yarn.
and use it all up so we can come back next year.
That's right. And there's some other festivals around the corner, so we have to go to those too.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Hi again. So, the Kawartha Yarn Festival was fabulous. It was so inspiring and full of great stuff. I don't think there was a single stall I went to where I couldn't have happily parted with some cash. Anyway, when I got there, I think I showed you the bag I was carrying. I got this at a craft show in Canada years ago, and I love it, and use it mostly for knitting. So it was empty, and by the end, I did a pretty good job at filling it up. First thing I'm going to show you is the ball winder I bought. What a great idea. Actually, it was sort of in the back of my mind. If I saw one, I was going to pick it up, because I've been doing this by hand for years, and I'm looking forward to having that and having cakes of yarn. Okay, and then I bought from, can you see this? Yeah, from Lizzie Ann, this sock pack, the Shorty Soft Sock Set. Say that 3 times fast. And I love the colors. You know, I don't think I've ever knit in pink, and I've been looking at a lot of pink and green lately. I love the combination. So this is a mother and daughter team, and I don't remember now where they're from, but I will add the information in the notes so you can take a look at their Etsy shop or look at them on Ravelry. So this is a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon in the colorway Apple Orchard, and I just love it. The bits of green in there that sort of complement the mini skein that comes with it for the heel and toe. So I've actually never knit a pair of socks, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. And that's why I also thought starting with a shorty set was probably a good idea. So the other yarns I picked up were from Debbie in London, Ontario, and her company is called The Loving Path. You see that? I hope that's focused nicely. Doesn't look all that focused. These are really nice hard cardstock. It's very elegant. So this is the tonal color I picked up, which I saw and really liked. That's, you know, it was the burgundy that caught my eye, but then I love this sort of turn into a bit more orangey color, and it's looking pretty close to what it looks like in real life. And then when I saw this, I thought, what a perfect match. So this is more of a speckled yarn, and I love the I don't know what shade you call it. I love the yellow or gold, and I like the way it really sort of matches. You can see the bits of burgundy in there will really go with the other. I didn't relish another 3.5-hour drive home after the festival. So a few days before I left, I had arranged to stay with my parents, who live on a lake in Muskoka. It's about 20 minutes away from the next yarn shop on the crawl that I visited. How handy is that? It seemed like it was meant to be. So later in the week, the Muskoka Yarn Connection was hosting a workshop with Kitty Bryant, who was one of the instructors at the Kawartha Yarn Festival. So I reserved a spot and stayed in Muskoka for a few days, living the dream. Then attended the workshop, had my crawl passport stamped, and picked up another clue to the mystery cowl before heading home.